Matt Campbell was just hired as the new Penn State head coach after one of the more ridiculous coaching searches you will ever witness. I wonder if the over under was 30 and a half coaching candidates, do you think they eclipse that number? Maybe. And it was looking like they wanted Shigs, Matt Rule. Start naming guys off for me, guys. Kalani Sitake, DeBoer got thrown around.
Elko,
Any Jimmy,
Freeman,
any
Brian
Jimmy,
Hartline.
Freeman,
any Jimmy,
Lane Kiffin,
any Jimmy Sexton, like client was pretty much named in this search. But I do
Brent
think,
Pry.
yeah, I do think they walked ass backwards into an awesome coaching hire. This is a guy that has taken Iowa State, who is, if Indiana's the worst, they got to be up there for the second or third worst college football program in the history of college football. Um, in the power four, that is. So what he's done at Iowa State, the amount of NFL guys they have, um, Brock Purdy, Brees Hall, um, I'm missing some, but I mean Jalen Noel and Jalen Hyatt this year from the draft. Tyrese Halliburton. Kidding, that's basketball.
Who's
Um,
that guy? Higgins. He's on who's he play for?
oh, I meant to say Jaden Higgins, not Hyatt.
Yeah.
Hyatt is the
Yeah.
Texans receiver.
yeah.
Yeah, Texans.
It's
Yeah.
Higgins
He's
and Jalen Noel. It's a Higgins and Noel from last year. Dude, so they've just done a really good job. McDonald, he was an edge a couple of years ago
Will
on the Jets.
McDonald.
Yeah. So, dude, this is a program that he's done well with. They've been to Big 12 championships. They won a lot of football games in his tenure. They have a lot of NFL talent. So I think Penn State should be really excited about the head football coach that they got. My question is, I think one good point is that they might like his game management better than James Franklin. I think he has an edge in that category, game management wise. The edge I do not think he possesses, and I guess we'll see because we've never seen him with a program as well resourced. Is he going to recruit the way James Franklin recruited? So that'll kind of be the test of time. And I don't want to do the thing where all we do is compare Matt Campbell to James Franklin. I don't think that's fair to him for like the first like 3 years, but I do think at some point that should be brought back up once Matt Campbell's given like enough of a timetable. So if he loses a bad game next year, like it shouldn't be like, oh, like what would James Franklin be doing? I do think we got to let it breathe a little bit, let Matt Campbell make this program Matt Campbell's program, and then in like 3 to 5 years, then we can revisit the conversation of like, was this the right move? Because it's just too short sighted right now.
Yeah, my quick point is I think Penn State with Matt Campbell, they're going to punch up instead of like punching down like they used to. But I don't know if they will be able to like. I think they're going to play above their talent level. James Franklin era, they often played like below or like underperformed. I just don't see in the first year or two, especially with how decimated their high school recruiting class was this year. I don't see a way that they punch up with like the big boys like in these 2 years. I think it's safe, like you said, you're gonna have to wait.
I'm kind of seeing a similar trajectory to Michigan post Harbaugh leaving, post Natty, the last 2 years, where you can see that they just have a lot of young players, young talent that's been building since last year. And then this upcoming year in 26 is when you're gonna well, they're hoping that that all comes to fruition and they're in the Big Ten picture competing for a national championship. I think that Matt Campbell should be given the grace period of at least 3 years just based on how decimated they signed two guys this week on National Signing Day. That's for Penn State, that's catastrophic. They were in at the FCS levels of recruiting rankings. And I think it's now an uphill climb just to get back to the baseline that they previously enjoyed. And that's going to make you question down the line if it was worth firing James Franklin over that. But I think Matt Campbell should be given the benefit of the doubt and some time to build the infrastructure and utilize the resources that he's going to be able to experience at Penn State that he wasn't at Iowa State and let his system come into place. And I hope he's given that grace period, but in an era
Knowing Penn
where
State fans,
yeah, and
grace period
in
will
an
not
era
exist.
where you see Kurt Signetti come into the Big Ten and win 11 games his first year, make the college football playoff, and then the next year they win the Big Ten, they're 13-0. I don't know if he's going to be granted that grace period. And I think the expectations are going to be that he brings in a bunch of transfers and that they're able to win right away and they win 10 games next year. So I think if Penn State fans carry that expectation into this hire, it's not going to look good and they might turn on him quickly. But if they see what he's done before and what he's been able to do with a historically bad program in Iowa State and build them up that way, I think that in a few years they might be in a good place. And I don't know if it'll necessarily be a better place than they were under James Franklin, but they'll still be a competitive football team and in good shape. And like Art said, maybe able to punch up a little bit better than they have been able to previously. So I like the hire. Just I think if it was looking real bad for a real long time. So
It was looking
ending up with Matt Campbell,
Harry Smith bad was
they were
about to
looking down the
happen.
barrel of Terry Smith as their head football coach. So I think ending up with Matt Campbell, that's nice consolation for the position you've been in the last 3 months and how botched this hiring process has been.
Yeah, I think that if I'm a Penn State fan, I'm pretty like I would say relieved would be the feeling that I would feel after like we all just said you whiffed on basically everyone that you interviewed and you kind of fell into this what I think is a very good B plus to A minus like great hire for Penn State and kind of like what you said, Duska. I think we were just talking about this earlier with Indiana and the quick turnaround. I think to the unfortunate the unfortunate side of that is he has now created a insanely unrealistic expectation for how first year coaches at above average programs should operate. And I also think with the overall delusion and unsettledness of the Penn State fan base and likely the boosters that they need, like you guys just said, they need to give him time to get his team, get his system, because I don't see a world that Penn State's this really flashy transfer portal location for big offensive players. And I think that like they have to give him 2 years and they can't get unruly after 2 years because I think it's going to be 8-4 and 9-3 until like you're going to have a couple of seasons like that until you're able to get back to where you think you can be. Um, and that being said, I just think that like if you're Penn State and now the season's over and you take a step back, like was it worth the firing of Franklin now that you have no recruiting class? And yeah, I think
You're
that
basically losing a year.
right, at least a year.
Like, was it too
Yeah.
far of a step back for maybe the marginal gain step forward, if so? Because the only way this is like the move is looked back at as the right move is if he wins a national championship. And then everything will be forgiven. But if it's the same, if it ends up being like they just get to the exact same spot, was the step back worth it? But Sam,
Which is just
that was really good, Sam.
like I just think it's an insane expectation.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
you when you hire someone with obviously you want to say, yes, we have a national championship expectation. But deep down in the back of everyone's mind knows that Campbell has probably 3 years max. And if he's not sitting at 10-2 after year three, then there's going to be another conversation. And is that a fair way to start a new coaching, a new program, a new trajectory of your program at Penn State? I don't know. And when you look at Penn State, like you're not the cream of the crop in the Big Ten. You have not been the cream of the crop in the Big Ten since whenever.
90s.
So yeah, and that like I just don't think that I think they made a very emotional hire, and the rationale was, oh, well, we kept losing to Ohio State.
No, no,
Well,
no,
you made
no.
the national
Emotional fire.
fire. That's what I meant.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry. Well, you kept with the reasoning of, oh, we kept losing the big games, but you were one throw away. You were a bounce or two away from making the national championship. You're Nick Singleton making that catch on the goal line away from making the national championship. So I think that yes, it was a great hire, but I think when you look in the rearview mirror, I think in around Halloween next year, Penn State might be sitting and saying, "Wow, was this worth it?" When
Okay.
Virginia Tech's 7-1 in the ACC, and there's just been a lot of uncertainty. I think you wonder, was this worth it?
Oh my gosh.
I have two.
Sorry.
You go. You
That's
go.
okay. Another horrendous pick by Jalen Hurts. But I think another just to add to the pressure that I think Matt Campbell's going to be under, the fact that Virginia Tech is going to be pretty good Like they signed a top 25 recruiting class. I haven't looked, but I'd be interested to see how many ACC teams are in the top 25
Not,
there.
maybe three.
And it's a schedule where you bring a top 25 recruit, you stack those recruiting classes and even maybe do a little bit better next year. It's a type of schedule where Virginia Tech's going to be good. They're going to get a good quarterback in there. They're going to have the talent composite. They're going to be at the higher echelons of the ACC. They're going to win a lot of games. So you're going to see that pressure from Penn State fans too. Like, why did we fire James Franklin? Virginia Tech is 8-1 and going. They're looking like they're going to be in the playoffs. They're looking like they're going to win the ACC, and it's going to be Matt Campbell, who Penn State signed 2 players, and they're building, but they're not really in the similar position of Virginia Tech, and that's just going to add to the pressure that's like being falsely placed on this position and the expectations from fans.
I also think Duska on the Virginia Tech topic, like if they continually pump out top 25 or even top 30 recruiting classes and get a couple transfers in, like with that talent composite alone, you should be going 8-4 in the ACC. And when Virginia Tech is a school where you bring recruits in, like they have really passionate fans. Like you're gonna get guys in there like, oh shit, like yeah, I can come here and I can win. Versus going to like one of these middling, even like a South Carolina, who like, yeah, you can go there, it's an awesome school, but like you're probably gonna go 7-5, and it's gonna be really difficult to make the playoff. Versus VT is gonna have a path every single year with the amount of talent on that team, and so yeah.
Yeah, the VT comparison is going to be there. So I think two things. One, like real thing. Next, I just have a take, but we're going to see very early in the Campbell era. I'm not really concerned about their record their first 2 years. That's like not what I'm concerned about. I'm really concerned about like their recruiting rankings. Like, are they going to be top 20? You cannot be a national championship contender without being top 20 unless you're Indiana. That's the only team that we've ever like seen do that. So, I just that's the gem. Like, can you recruit the way Franklin is able to recruit? Because if you can't, it's going to be really hard to beat Ohio State and Oregon and USC, in Michigan year in and year out, right? Or even Washington. Like Washington's going to sit right around 35 to 27-ish, right? So, are you going to?
This also
No,
Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead,
no, no,
finish. I
I'm
was
good.
going to say, this also isn't the Big Ten conference that James Franklin was coaching in for 10 years.
Mhm.
This is a conference with USC, with Washington, UCLA. They just hired Bob Chesney. Like they'll probably resurge a little bit. It's a conference where a lot of the top talent in the country is now being concentrated and filtered into the Big Ten and the SEC. And there's more teams, and it's just going to be a better league overall. It's not going to be like the super cupcake schedules that we've seen teams like Penn State and Indiana last year, the schedule they played. It's not going to be like that anymore. It's going to be a tough schedule where 10 games is going to be it should certainly be the goal and the benchmark for a program, but
That's hard
it's not going to be easy. It's
because
not going to be as easy as it has been.
being perennially 8-4, 9-3, like is being the Washington of the East good enough? No, in Penn State's size.
That's
So
not what they fired James Franklin
no,
for.
that's not what they fired. Okay, here's a take I got. I think next year Michigan State goes 7-5. Does the I'm just questioning, does Patty Fitzgerald have a more successful year one than Matt Campbell? We'll see.
I think Penn State might retain more talent than we expect.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
I'm kind of. Can somebody talk me off the ledge of being high on the Patty Fitzgerald to Michigan State? Because I kind of like it.
I mean, it's
Look at his
another
last
coach
year as
where
a coach.
it's another but it's another coach that was not the resources you received at Northwestern do not compare to that of Michigan State. So it's another coach where you'll get to see him work with a little bit more to work with.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited for that one.
I'm excited to see what he's able to do there.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
intrigued by
interesting.
the Michigan State job.
I just think it was I mean, he was bad his last year, and then their coach now, Braun, like they got him bowl eligible in his
They were
first
solid
year.
this year, yeah.
Very solid.
Yeah. So,
But he was
I don't
fired in
know.
2022, so that was a
Yeah,
that
but in
was 3
23
seasons
had him
ago.
bowl eligible. Like the year after he had him bowl
I get what you're saying.
eligible.
They looked pretty good this year, actually. So
Yeah.
impressed with that.
You could also say they've been continuously improving as well.
Yeah.